Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We always talk about Bill Clinton's comeback, the comeback kid in 1992 when he finished second. This so far exceeds that. I've never seen a political comeback like this in my life. It's a bit like the Boston Red Sox being down 3-0 because Biden lost the first 3 aces, being down 1 run in the ninth inning and coming back and beating the New York Yankees. He is not the comeback kid. He's Lazarus.
Yeah. So let's rewind it a little bit. Super Tuesday yesterday. Let's go back a week. Biden looked beyond dead in the water. Money's dried up, continues to make gaffes. Things seem to be basically, what is the establishment going to do? But I'll go back even further. That socialism thing is very real with Bernie. He's doubled down on things like Castro, China. He says things that makes people uncomfortable, and those people are older voters who are consistent. From his doubling down to his tripling down on 60 Minutes to his South Carolina debate where he continued to, hey, yeah, that's right, did some good things, to Jim Clyburn, who is the person who resurrected. Then you have an absolute destruction of everybody on South Carolina primary Saturday. A whooping that people didn't see. I mean, I thought he would win. I said he'd win by double digits. He won by almost 30. Buttigieg, Klobuchar drop out. Super Tuesday, things started to change. And the next thing you know, not only does he win the night, even though Bernie at the end of the day, and we may not know this for a day or two, may come out with a little bit more because of the haul in California, which even then ended up being decent for Biden. The reality is this is now Biden's to lose.
For those who've been knocked down, counted out, left behind, this is your campaign. Just a few days ago, the press and the pundits had declared the campaign dead. And then came South Carolina, and they had something to say about it. And we're told, well, when you got to Super Tuesday, it'd be over. Well, it may be over for the other guy.
Yeah. He was energized last night. It was interesting, too. Not only where he won in Minnesota, thank you, Klobuchar, which I think was a big helper. And she said the day before, she comes out and she's on it. She says, hey, vote for him, Minnesota, vote for him. That ad ran nonstop in Minnesota all day yesterday. It was, look, this is a guy who was not only running on fumes, I think he had lost confidence in whether or not he thought he could do this. But wow, Texas, a win for him. Surprised because all of the polls all the way through showed what? Sanders was going to win. Maybe Joe would come in second. Bloomberg may come in second. And we'll talk about Bloomberg and Warren in a little bit. But yesterday, for Joe, was big, was absolutely big. How about Virginia? Double the turnout in 2016. That is huge.
People are talking about a revolution. We started a movement. We've increased turnout. And the turnout's turned out for us.
And he's right. Here's the issue all along with Bernie Sanders. The young, they're fine with socialism. They've not heard or seen any of the ills of socialism. They think it's just about income inequality and how you fix that and make sure that everybody's kind of in the middle and that nobody gets too far away and nobody falls too far behind. And they don't get told the ills of it. They don't get told about Venezuela. And every time they are told something like that, there's some sort of an excuse that comes with it of why they failed. Socialism for the young, it's coming. I hate to break the news to everybody. At some point in time, and I've been saying this, look at the shifting demographics in America. It is coming. Younger voters are already a bigger group than older voters. The difference is consistency with older voters. But eventually those older voters will phase out, pass away, and the younger voters will have their chance. Their chance isn't right this second. It isn't.
Socialism is on the ballot in the form of self-described Democratic socialist Bernie Sanders. Even in North Carolina, where Joe Biden won, there's a favorable view of socialism in 49% of voters. Those exit polls also painted an even more favorable picture of socialism in Maine. 62% of the voters say they view it favorably. It was 55% agreeing in Texas.
Younger generation. But as of now, Bernie doesn't move the needle outside of his base. He is not bringing more people in. And this is something very interesting. A lot of people say, well, like Ilhan Omar, like, well, if we coalesce around Bernie or all together, look at the numbers. You don't have the numbers, right? Do math. You don't have the numbers. You don't. People love Bernie. They're passionate about what he talks about, but there isn't that level outside of his base. There isn't. He's not doing great with basically suburban and women. He's not. He doesn't do well with blacks. He does well with young voters, with Latino voters. But is there enough of them? And here's something else to think about. As we head into this general election, whoever this ends up being, which, at this point in time, there's still a long way to go. But whoever this ends up being, if it is, let's just say Biden, the younger generation falls in love with a candidate. I always say fall in like, don't fall in love. And that's who they're ride or die. Meaning they're not following somebody else. They're not. So they'll stay home before they'll go vote. An older generation looks around and say, well, you know what? I didn't get what I wanted, but this is better than the alternative. And that's something to think about. There's a lot going in that the Democrats are going to have to figure out, especially because what's trending this morning? Rigged primary. Already the narrative is being built that it's a rigged primary, that here they come again to steal it from Bernie. Here they come again to steal it all from Bernie. Yesterday wasn't a referendum on Bernie. It was just, you know what? We're America. They're comfortable with Joe. Joe's comfort food. Makes people, on the Democratic Party, we know who he is. We know what he's going to bring. There's no surprise outside of this box here. We get what he's going to bring to us. We understand what he's bringing to us. We get it, right? It's that comfort food that you want. Bernie's new. Bernie's new. Promises? Not quite sure I buy all those promises. How are you going to pay for it? There's a lot of things about Bernie that scares people, and rightly so. But at the end of the day, more often than not, we go where? We go where we're comfortable. And for Democrats across the board, Joe was comfortable. He's not bringing anything new. He's not changing anything. If Joe was to win, what do you get with Joe? Obama 2.0. He's going to go in and try to fix Obamacare, right? He's going to keep everything kind of in the same vein that Obama did, continues to push that out there. That's what you're going to get with him. For a lot of people, it's about comfort. That's why I was surprised still to this day when you look at Trump. Trump was anything but comfortable. He was uncomfortable. But a lot of what Trump talked about, as far as the politics side, was comfortable. But he is a person definitely outside the box. Bernie hasn't figured out, how do I bring more people in? He's got his message. He's talking about revolution. He's single-minded in that message. He delivers that message over and over. He has his talking points down. But if you haven't reached him now, you're probably not going to reach him. And he's got more than a few opportunities ahead as well. What do we have going forward? Well, simply this. A week from yesterday, right? So a week from yesterday, the 10th, you've got Idaho, Michigan, 125 there. Mississippi, 36. Missouri, 68. North Dakota, and Washington. So you got a decent amount there. Then 2 weeks, which would be the 17th, is probably the biggest night outside of last night. Arizona, 67, that'll be interesting. Florida, Bernie kissed that one goodbye. Illinois, 156. Ohio, 138. Does he have it? I don't know. And even at this point, is it going to be so choppy that they're going to go in with a brokered convention? Possibility is still very real, that neither of them get to what they need to. The 1900 plus. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. God, Bloomberg, president of American Somoa. His vice president is Tulsi Gabbard. Congratulations to them. Oh, my God. All that money. It's going to reassess. It's going to reassess everything. That is very interesting. What do you do if you're Warren? We'll talk about that. So much stuff to get to today. Lots of it. Raycon was talking yesterday to people over there, and they have so many amazing things. But they asked me and say, hey, do you like your Raycons? I said, I love them. I love them. I absolutely love them. I got the E25s, and they are just, I like the fact I turn them on seamless right into my Bluetooth. So whatever it is, whether I'm on my phone and I'm working out or whether I'm watching a movie, right in there. I got 6 hours of playtime, and the sound quality is just incredible. It really is. Nice noise isolating fit. So yeah, I do take calls. I do a lot of stuff, and it's just awesome to have this because it doesn't matter what I'm doing. Sound quality is incredible. And the price is awesome. I see so many of these other ones, the ones who they match the phone or they look great, but do they really sound great? And they cost how much? $200? No. These are less than half of that. And I'm going to save you money on top of that. Ray J's done it right. You will love these. Grab your Raycons today and save big. 15% off. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. That's buyraycon.com/Chad to save 15% on an already discounted amazing earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show, the only place so far that the Mueller investigation hasn't deep probed for collusion.
Redacted! Redacted!
Stay tuned.
This is Chad Benson.
We don't know how long the fomites or these particles of this novel coronavirus can live on dry surfaces. There's a lot of panic and hysteria and extreme steps being taken. And right now there is zero evidence that it can be passed on money, packages, mail at this time.
Yeah, so people are still freaking out about the coronavirus. Somebody asked me yesterday, like even around here, they put up a bunch of like those hand sanitizer things everywhere throughout the office. And people are like, aren't you worried? I'm like, no, I'm not worried. I'm not. There's a run on toilet paper. There's a run on toilet paper. Not just here, globally, there's a run. It's crazy just watching the way that people are reacting everywhere. I read a great article today about what it's like to be in some of these places, in places like Korea right now, where you've got a lot of American soldiers that are over there, and they're like, there's nothing to do. We're not allowed to leave the base at all. We, on our days off, we act like we're going to go do something, and then we all basically sit inside the house. We can go to the grocery store, we can do a few things, but outside of that, there's just nothing to do, and the streets are empty. And it's but here, we act like it's everywhere. Like, oh, my God. It's everywhere. It's not. It's not. It's not everywhere. I do believe at some point in time the hysteria will calm down, but it is interesting to see the way. Most people who test positive for this have pretty mild symptoms. Most people. People with compromised immune system, older men, have issues, and children seem to have really no issues whatsoever.
They are the same. There's a big overlap. They give you these non-specific viral syndromes, fever, cough, shortness of breath, fatigue. We have to remember we are still in the middle of flu season, so common things occur commonly. If you get any of those symptoms right now, it's still more likely that you have influenza than coronavirus.
Yeah. And if you have it, what do they say? Stay home, call your doctor, tell him what you've got going on, and don't go to the hospital. It's just, it's simple. It's common sense, but we don't like to use common sense. We like to freak out because it's more entertaining. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Last night, again, Super Tuesday was super for Biden. Surprise, I think, for Sanders. And, you know, a lot of people thought if Joe keeps it within 100 delegates of Bernie, that's great. At this moment, and probably at least for the next, 24 hours while they finish counting up, he's in the lead.
It is our campaign, our movement, which is best positioned to defeat Trump.
I don't know, Bernie. I don't think so. I don't think you are best positioned to beat Trump, especially if the economy's hot. I think Bernie... Again, how are you growing, Bernie? How are you growing? You've got a lot of the same people. You've added a few more because of demographics. People, college getting older and stuff and weren't old enough to vote. But they're on your Bernie bandwagon, if you will. But who else are you adding? You're not getting suburban, women. You're not getting that. You're not getting that. Definitely not adding African Americans. They're not jumping on the Bernie bandwagon. I'm not saying there's not some of those. Just like there's, just like there are people who are black who vote for Trump. Oh, my God, Latinos who vote for Trump. But how are you adding? Because I don't feel like you're adding. And if you're going to win and you think you're going to win, you better figure out how to expand the base because yesterday should have been a wake-up call. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. What do Bloomberg and Warren do? It's a big question today. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Bloomberg's spending this campaign has been unprecedented, but on Tuesday night, he watched states where he spent tens of millions of dollars go to rival Joe Biden, who spent far less. In North Carolina, Biden spent $321,000 on ads. Bloomberg, more than $17 million. In Minnesota, Biden spent just $6,000, while Bloomberg dropped more than $12 million. And with the disappointing results Tuesday night, reports say Bloomberg will reassess the future of his campaign. Mark Remillard, ABC News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know what Bloomberg's going to do. I don't know what Warren's going to do. Because let's be real, too. Not just Bloomberg, but Warren. Not just Bloomberg, but Warren came in third in her own state. So her home state, she came in third. Biden didn't even fly over Massachusetts, anyone. She came in third. That says a lot. I don't know. Here's the thing. I do believe that Warren is going to continue. She's got a town hall out here in Arizona on, I think it is Saturday or Sunday, right? So she is going to continue moving forward. By the looks of it, I don't know why. I don't know what kind of money she has. She doesn't seem like she's giving up just yet. I don't know what she thinks is going to happen, but there's no doubt that she, it was not a good night for her at all. It wasn't. It was not a good night. She has struggled mightily, and she's continuing to go on by the looks of it. And remember, Warren's people aren't necessarily Bernie's people. A majority of Warren's people picked Buttigieg as their second. Man, Warren's people attacked me the other day when I said, with Buttigieg getting out of the race, who does this help the most? And I didn't put Warren. And they're like, you just don't understand. I'm like, I'm waiting for you guys. Where are you? She's a non-factor. I mean, she isn't. She came in third. Third. In your own home state. Third. Now, does she keep going? Does she say to herself, let's see if this thing's going to be a contested convention, a brokered convention where maybe I'll have some sway? Maybe I can see, because think about this for a second. Let's just say it gets to 1,600 and 1,400, and she's able to amass, 500-600 delegates along the way. She could have the opportunity to get in there and potentially sway that. Maybe put herself on the ticket, right? It's a possibility. So there's a lot of jockeying going on right now. But Bloomberg, he's got all the money in the world. He can stick this thing out for as long as he wants to stick this thing out. And I don't know how long that's going to be. Maybe it's maybe today, again, he reassesses, he looks, and at the same time, he's just 3 weeks ago, this looked like a smart play because he didn't feel Joe was going to be it, right? And look, totally understand that, right? Joe struggled mightily. Joe did. I think Bloomberg's looking at, can I pick enough off so that I can become a player? Because I still don't know if anybody's going to get to that threshold they need to get the nomination without there being a broker convention. I just don't know if that's going to happen. I think he's really looking at a few of the other things along the way. But I tell you what, it's ugly. It has not been good at all for him. And so much of that is the fact, imagine what he was like. Let's just say for the sake of argument, Bloomberg had any personality whatsoever. He had any personality. He had a little piss and vinegar like Bernie. Maybe he had some personality like Joe. I think he would be a player. But when he got on that stage that night in Nevada, he was as dull as it comes. He was a whipping boy for Elizabeth Warren, and he got his ass whooped. And he has not been the same. Did a little bit better than the next one. But he's just, It's a lot of money to be the president of American Samoa. By the way, Tulsi Gabbard got one. We were laughing about that.
I'm glad the vice president's okay. This has been the most impressive 72 hours I've ever seen in American politics. He came back. Impressive wins in states that I didn't even think Joe Biden had a presence. Massachusetts, Minnesota. Cole mentioned the delegates tonight. You should put one up for Tulsi. She got it in American Samoa. Okay, she probably worked very, very hard for that.
There you go.
Please, Carl. Thank you, Boo. I appreciate that because I got to be fair.
Yeah, she's supposed to be in the next debate. So we'll see. I don't even know what she's doing. Like, is she just leaving herself in there and hoping because she's on some of these things that she'll pick up some delegates along the way, and there's no reason not to, right? Might as well ride this thing out as long as possible. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. So again, looking forward next week, the 10th, you've got Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, Washington. Washington's got 89, Michigan's got 126, Missouri's got 68. Those are the big ones. Then 2 weeks from yesterday is a big night. Arizona's got 67, but the biggies are Florida, and you can kiss that goodbye for Bernie. Illinois will be interesting, and Ohio. So those will be pretty damn interesting. And then the last, looks like, you've got a couple decent ones, but then the next big and the last real big few nights is, New York. Where does that go in Pennsylvania? But you still have a ways to go. I don't think this thing's going to be done anytime soon. I think this is a battle that's going to continue to go on moving forward. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. So imagine this. You're a woman going to vote, and your Uber driver yells something. And this woman did not like what he said, decided she was going to lay down the law.
This is actually the reason I'm voting. He yelled at me nice as he sat in his car because he's a loser and he's super inappropriate and he's f***ing shady. Do you feel good? Did you stop me on the street and say nice? Is that what just happened? Did you stop me on the street and say nice as I was walking, minding my own business and sexually harass me? Is that what just happened? Do you feel like an adult? How do you feel right now? Do you feel good? Yeah? That's all you got, huh? That's all you got because you live your life every day as a man and you don't have to deal with sexual harassment. You're so weak that you thought that you could just scream that at me and I was going to walk away and say nothing, huh?
Yeah, she wasn't walking away. She was not walking away at all. She's not done. And he's just sitting there. Just like, just taking it.
Well, now I'm not saying nothing because you interrupted me and made me feel like because that's what you get to do from your place of privilege in your stupid car. Oh, yeah. Instead of just saying come again and oh, yeah, you could apologize. Would you like to apologize to me? No, you would not like to apologize to me because this doesn't matter to you at all because you have so much goddamn privilege that you're just going to harass me on the street and you have no intention of apologizing to me. About yelling nice at me. This is the reason I'm on my way to vote. People like you.
People like him is the reason that she's on her way. By the way, can we just say this? You're an Uber driver, side hustle. Probably, I know you're talking about privilege, but I don't know how much privilege he's got there. Who's got male privilege? Everybody's got privilege, right? Some way, shape, or form. If you're born in America, you have privilege. If you're here in America, legally or not, you've got privilege because you're in this country compared to other places that aren't so good. If you're a man and you're ugly, you may not have some privilege. If you're a woman and you're beautiful, you got a little privilege. Right? I mean, everybody can find something that somebody else has. We are so obsessed with what everybody else has that's better. Isn't it weird? What he said was wrong. He's an idiot. He's also an Uber driver. So we're going to go with that one, right? And he's sitting there taking it, and he's a buffoon.
People like you are the reason that I have to, wake up every day and think about my actions and think about my safety. The fact that I'm having this conversation with you could potentially be putting me in danger. And I'm doing it anyways because I'm so sick of people like you. What a world, man. Why are you lurking here anyways? Do you have, something you need to be at? That's great. 2 women just walked by and agreed with me that you shouldn't sexually harass people. And I think Uber will, too. I think Uber will also agree with me.
Yeah, probably. Do people wake up every day and think that? I work with a lot of women, and I always ask them this. Do you guys ever feel sexually harassed outside? No. No. Some people, they wake up in the morning and everything in the world is coming at them. That's the way they feel. They wake up waiting to be offended. She was offended, and rightly so, and she read him the riot act, and he'll probably pay the price and he'll lose his job. She read him the riot act, and she had every right to. But along the way, it's like, yeah, I'm doing this because it's interesting, right? I sometimes sit back and go, do people is that it? But then, yeah, there are a lot of people out there. They wake up in the morning and they're just waiting. What is the world going to feed them today of disappointment, sadness, and how are they robbed? And how are they disproportionately crushed by the man compared to somebody else? And that's how they start their morning. They start their morning looking for a reason to be offended. It's interesting. I've never started my way. It's like, I don't care what other people make. Right? I've never cared about that. So many people care. You know, when I talk about Bernie's people, well, when CEOs stop making 500 million times the blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't care what a CEO makes. I've never cared. I don't care what a star makes. I don't care what an athlete makes. I don't care about any of those things. I care about me, my family, my life. Some people, though, it's about being offended, and they've got to be. I think they're happiest when there's trauma and drama in their life. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. We're talking off the air about the coronavirus and how people are freaking out. Toilet paper, the run on French toast. There's a run on ingredients for French toast. They're like, what are the staples in your life? French toast is not a staple. There's a run on ramen, right? There's a huge run on top ramen because it's cheap and you keep it and it lasts for years, right? Not only in the package, but also in your body. So there's a run on that. And I'm like, man, just watching it. And I was watching this thing in Australia. They're Woolworths, which is huge there, are telling people you can only get 4 things of toilet paper. Right. So 4, they come in 6 or 8 packs. You only get 4 of those. You can't buy all of the store out. Breathe. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Hey, if you're like most of us, you've got a credit card and your balance is probably high. You're paying 17, 18, 19, 20 plus %. Don't do that. You need my friends at Lightstream. So easy to lower your rate, right? It is so easy to lower your interest rate and save with Lightstream credit card consolidation loan. You can get a rate as low as 5.95% APR with auto pay. Because to see Lightstream believes people with good credit like you shouldn't be paying that ridiculous amount. You can get loans from $5,000 to $100,000 with absolutely no fees. You can even get your money as early as the same day you apply, and you can do it right from your phone. And just for being my listener, that's you guys out there, how about this little special interest rate discount? Now, to get this discount, you go to lightstream.com/Benson. That's lightstream.com/Benson. You got your credit card bill yesterday or the other day, and you're looking at it going, oh, this is ridiculous. Get out of that. Get into Lightstream. Subject to credit approval. Rate includes 0.50% auto pay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Offers subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
The biggest concern right now is China, the world's second largest movie market, where some 70,000 movie theaters are shut down. The Hollywood Reporter says analysts are worried that ticket sales through the end of February might be down $2 billion or more because of coronavirus, and total box office loss and production shutdown worldwide could already amount to a $5 billion loss. Box office in South Korea was down 80% last weekend. Disney's canceled a big launch party in London for its streaming service Disney Plus, and Facebook and Twitter are skipping the big South by Southwest conference in Austin, Texas, all over coronavirus concerns.
Overreaction. Now, I get it in China. They've had most of the cases there. Korea as well. They've had, in the last 2 weeks, about 5,000 cases. We're at like 130 cases. So 9 deaths. All in Washington State, if I'm correct, and most of those inside of a nursing home. So, but this is big because Disney's rolling out Mulan, and China, they thought it was this could be their biggest live action movie by far. That was going to be huge, and they don't. What do you do at this point in time? You've got no choice but to try to figure out. You're going to lose a ton of money. You're going to have to hold it back. You're dealing with, you got to think about this too. You're flying stars all over the place. You've carved this time for them to do these kind of press hits in between other things. You're building momentum up for this. Now you're stepping back saying, I don't know. That's a lot of money to lose. $2 billion to $5 billion plus, depending on when this thing ends. Speaking of losing money, what do you do if you're Tokyo right now? I mean, it is becoming more and more. They said yesterday, we're going to look at it. The contract with the Olympics is we have to have the Olympics in 2020. That's where they're going with this thing now. We have to have it in 2020. Doesn't say we have to have it here, but we do have to have it in 2020. The IOCs told everybody who's preparing for the games, continue to prepare for the games just as if the games are going to go on. But they're talking early to late May. They'll make a decision. And they've got, and the backup plan, all of these things, the World Cup, the Women's World Cup, the Olympics, they all have backup plans. Canceling is one of them. Moving it to a later date is another one. Or moving it all together is another one. Where would they move it? The way it usually works is you can go back to the last Olympic Games, or America's always the default because we have the infrastructure to put something together in a short period of time. We have stadiums. We have all of these things that we can put together like that. A lot of times these places build stadiums specifically for this. We have infrastructure everywhere. You could set up and say in the next 90 days, we're going to have the Olympics here. And in America, we could get it ready. Australia probably could do the same. Britain could probably do the same. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But it's getting close. It's getting to be game time. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from every single one of you. What do you think about Warren? What do you think about Bloomberg? Should he drop out? Should he throw some money behind Joe? Because the reason he got in is because he didn't think Joe was strong enough. Now that Joe is showing signs of life and a full recovery, potentially, does he divert some cash to him and step away? It'll be interesting. Super Tuesday was a bit of a bloody mess, too, for Sanders, I think. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I'm hearing a lot of joy and also a lot of pain. I think there's a joy that there has been this consolidation for the moderate lane, that the Democrats proved to be smarter than the Republicans in 2016 because they just kept dividing up the pie.
Van Jones, consolidation? Absolutely. Why? Because what happened last night was big. Biden left for dead. He was. He talked about being left for dead.
So now I'm also in a very different position. I'm above the ground. I'm not. You haven't buried me yet. I'm not dead. I'm back. And so, all kidding aside, I feel good. There's a real sense of momentum. But again, you guys are the pundits. I can't make those judgments. All I know is what the results are when they occur. And I feel very good. The response we're getting everywhere has been extremely enthusiastic. The number of people who have come out. I've just been really, really moved by all the people who have just spontaneously, without my asking, endorsed in the last 4 or 5 days.
And that's huge. And I'll tell you why. If you look at the exit polls, how many people made up their mind in the last few days, even that day, spontaneously, it was Joe. Something about Joe. Maybe a lot of people were worried, right? They were worried about Joe. Does Joe really want this? Joe looked dead in the water, doesn't have any money. But along the way, Joe just kept being Joe. And he's going to continue to be Joe. Let's be 100% honest. Joe's going to continue to be Joe. There are going to be plenty of gaffes along the way. But yesterday, I think a lot of people realized, especially in Bernie's world, that, yes, it is the establishment, and that the establishment is bigger, and that while people scream about a revolution, there's still more people on the other side of the Democratic Party. And it showed. He surprised in Texas. I thought he was going to lose Texas. I thought he'd do okay in the South. He won in Minnesota. He won in Massachusetts. He won in Massachusetts, a state he didn't even fly over. Right? So, yeah, he didn't win California. We already knew that. California is like, I mean, it's left of Cuba at this point in time. But he didn't do horrible. Got over a decent threshold. What I thought could have been an awful night for Joe, or a surprising night, with everybody coalescing around him, where maybe he keeps it close, he's in the lead. Now, what does that look like when all is said and done and everything's counted? I don't know. What I do know at this point in time is it is a two-person race. And I think yesterday was very telling in the two-person race that when push comes to shove, you can fill an arena, but it's about filling the ballots that matter most. Putting 15,000 people into arena sounds great. Bernie's going to be out here in Arizona tomorrow. I expect at the Memorial Coliseum, the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, to be 12 to 15,000 people. I expect it to be a carnival-like atmosphere. But the question is, outside of that arena, and I don't mean just outside, I mean outside of that arena, is there 40, 50, 100, 200,000 voters that are just sitting at home because they got other things to do? Joe may be holding it at a bowling alley, get 200 people to show up. But outside of there may be 200,000 people that are doing other things. But when it comes to that day, they will be there. And that's the thing that matters most. When push comes to shove, consistency of voters. Last night, he was Joe. And again, a lot of people worry. And Joe's got that target on his back now that he's got that momentum as we head into 2 more big weeks of primaries. So, and we've seen, not everybody handles the spotlight well. But last night, he was being Joe.
They don't call Super Tuesday for nothing. By the way, this is my little sister, Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh, no, you switched on me. This is my wife. This is my sister. They switched on me. Folks, things are looking awful, awful good.
Such a Joe thing right there. But, now the question is, what does Bernie do? Well, Bernie's still in a great position, right? He's got tons of money. He's in a really good position. He's not out of and by no means is he out of this. I think by the end of this week, with all being said and done and counted up, would I be surprised if he's in a little bit of a lead? I would not, because California is going to take a little while. They had some issues, not a shocker. But where does he go? How does Bernie bring in others? Because that's what it is. Like, I was listening to Joe last night. That Joe will be interesting to see if he takes on Trump. That Joe will be. He did promise that he was going to find a cure for cancer. Again, it's done that on several occasions. But that Joe, it'll be interesting. Do I think he can beat Trump in a strong economy going where we are right now? I think it's going to be a really tough battle and an uphill battle. But Joe talked about a lot of things last night, and I was impressed with the fact that he talked about Republicans. He talked about we're not going to get everything we want. He talked about things that are very real. And again, he's that comfort food that people like. Right? Bernie scares him. Bernie's a little uncomfortable. Right? Bernie's very angry. He's talking about a revolution. We like some change, but we don't want to burn it all down. Right? Yeah, I think the house needs a change. I'd like to add a room and lick of paint. You're like, no, let's burn it all down and we'll do something else. You're like, well, I don't know about that. So it's interesting to see how Bernie's going to bring people in. He's got Latino voters, which is huge. He's got the young. Suburban white women, mightily important. Doesn't have that. Blacks, doesn't have that at all. And an older generation who looks at socialism, what he talks about, and says, no, I'll take a pass. I'll take a pass.
You cannot beat Trump with the same old kind of politics. What we need is a new politics that brings working class people into our political movement, which brings young people into our political movement, and which in November will create the highest voter turnout in American political history.
But oddly enough, last night, in a place like Virginia, you had huge turnout, double what they had. He won that. Yeah, Biden won that. How about this? Tennessee. How many times did he visit Tennessee? If you said 0, you would be correct. And he won that. It's interesting. The increased turnout seems to be jumping on Biden's bandwagon and not Bernie's. Bernie knows he needs every young person to turn out if he has a chance to get this done.
People are talking about a revolution. We started a movement. We've increased turnout. And the turnout's turned out for us.
And I think people are surprised about that. Again, doesn't guarantee success, as we all know at this point in time. But last night was, I think, a wake-up call for Bernie. And Bernie's going to be asking himself today, how do we increase this? How do we grow this? Because that's what it's all about, right? And you've got two different parts of the Democratic Party that are fighting over that certain amount of independent voters that are out there, disgruntled Republicans. How do you get those? I don't know if Bernie can increase what he has. I don't think he's going to do any better with African American voters. I don't think the young are going to gravitate towards Biden at all. And I think that's the big problem that they're going to have across the board. At the end of the day, even though there was this big fighting going on in the Republican Party, when Trump won, a good majority of people coalesced around Trump because he still talked a lot about what? Jobs, the economy, immigration, the points that you hit. He had a lot of that stuff in there. With Bernie's people, in particular the uber progressive younger generation, I don't know if they're going to run over to Biden. They love him. I don't know if they love the Democrats. And that's something that's very real. And if they feel, which is already trending throughout the day, and we'll talk about that in a minute, they feel like it's going to be stolen from them, there's no chance you're going to get them. And without them, you're going to lose. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. So I got up early this morning at 3 o'clock. Took my Beat Elite from Human. It's awesome. Took it. I poured it into some water, right? Did a little bit of work. Drank it. 30 minutes later, away I went. Worked out. About 45 minutes of workout. And it's just, I feel that it's just great taking Beat Elite. I just feel the fact that we're normally, I think I'd be pushing it a little bit. I push right through it if it's no big deal. And it's just improved my endurance and my stamina and my workout. It is incredible. It really is. It's so simple to take, and you will feel the difference. So think about it. If you normally go 30 minutes or 40 minutes in a workout, imagine going 45, 50, maybe even an hour and not really feeling like you're pushing it, just having a little extra oomph in a natural way. That's what Beat Elite delivers. Whether I'm playing soccer or I'm doing a workout, it is incredible. Trusted by hundreds of elite teams, athletes, and organizations all over the globe. So you know you're getting a top-notch performance product. Do what I did. Take your game and your workout to the next level. Go to livehuman.com/Chad. What are you going to do there? First and foremost, you're going to save big. 20% off your first purchase. That's livehuman.com/Chad to save 20%. Livehuman.com/Chad. Big breaking news. We'll talk about that in a minute. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
Mike Bloomberg is suspending his campaign for president after a disappointing finish in Super Tuesday. Bloomberg said he always believed that defeating Donald Trump starts with uniting behind the candidate with the best shot to do it. After yesterday's vote, Bloomberg said in a statement, "It is clear that candidate is my friend and a great American, Joe Biden." Repeating, Mike Bloomberg drops out of the race for the Democratic presidential nomination and endorses Joe Biden.
Huge. Huge. Not only is the endorsement a big thing, but let's be 100% honest. What comes with that endorsement? And you say something like my friend. Bloomberg's pockets are huge. While his personality was small, his pockets are big. And what does Joe need? A lot of money. He's got momentum. He's got some enthusiasm. He's got the establishment and the machine behind him. But he was still lacking in the essential thing in the world of politics, which is dollar bills to get out there. And there is no doubt in my mind that Bloomberg will help along the way with Joe. Why didn't it go well?
Despite unprecedented spending leading up to Super Tuesday voting, Bloomberg struggled to capture voters. In 3 states where the question was asked, California, Virginia, and Colorado, exit polls show Bloomberg was seen as unfavorable by double-digit margins, and that's after spending more than $100 million in those 3 states alone.
Yeah. For whatever reason, he never resonated. And I think a lot of it had to do with, I think people were excited, potentially, because they were looking at what was going on with Joe. And the reason he got into this entire thing is because he didn't think Joe was capable of winning it. Let's be real. And he was worried about Bernie. He was worried about another term for Trump. But last night changed the course of a lot of things. And now, if you're Bernie, you're looking around and you're saying to yourself, well, Bloomberg may be out, but in many ways, he's kind of still in because you know he's going to throw his support, and that support comes with the machine. Think about the machine that he's already built up across the country. You don't think he wouldn't mind turning the keys over that? Oh, yeah.
And if there is another candidate in the race who is spending hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, we're going to tell him in America, you cannot buy elections.
Yeah. But he can help his friend potentially win the election with some dollar bills that he has. So Bloomberg out, endorses Biden. Now everybody sits around and waits and thinks to themselves, self? What's Warren going to do? What is she going to do? Don't know. She's going to reassess, she just said. I would be surprised. But does she look around and say, my best bet is to, and here's the thing. At some point in time, we all know she's going to get out. It's the endorsement now that matters. You know who the front runners are. Who are you endorsing? That's the big thing. Who are you endorsing? She doesn't have the machine, but she does have suburban women that tend to like her, which is what Bernie is lacking in. But she failed miserably, right? Bloomberg spent a ton of money, but he was lacking in the thing that also matters, which is a personality. He was just he was a dead fish on the stage. He was awful. He was awful. She stick and fight? And who does she fight for eventually? Because the Bernie supporters and the Warren supporters aren't necessarily friends. And a good majority of the people who like Warren, Bernie wasn't in their top 2 or 3 that they would flock to. They were looking for others. So there's a lot that goes into that. Plus, you got to think about this, too. Bernie's been there for 500 years in D.C., but he still paints himself as an outsider. On the other side of things, Warren is a D.C. insider. And she's fine with the machine, and she's fine with the establishment. Be interesting. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Super Tuesday turns into a wacky Wednesday. Coming up, Corey Lewandowski is going to join the show. Very interesting. At the end of the day, somebody will emerge from this. That person that emerges, whoever he or looks like he is going to be, will have to take on Trump, who himself has a giant war chest of money. He is a juggernaut as far as his personality goes. This is going to be interesting. And where does Bernie go? How does this happen? How does this happen within the space of about 72 plus hours? The tables have turned. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
And we're getting crowds like this. We were all over the last couple of weeks. We like to troll. We like to go the night before one of their primaries. We do a little trolling. It's called we do a little trolling. Bernie Sanders was very upset. Why would he be there? Why? Because I want to win. I want to keep everybody out. Guess that's a good reason.
Joining us now, the senior advisor to the Trump campaign. Got a shout out last night, Corey Lewandowski, and he likes to troll, he likes to have fun, and he's sitting back watching this thing go down. Bloomberg drops out today, throws his might behind Biden. Sanders is upset. Corey, this is politics at its finest.
Well, you know, Bloomberg ran a very short campaign, as we say here at the Trump world. It was a very short campaign.
I still laugh at the CPAC. If you guys haven't seen it, watch Trump when he drops down behind the podium pretending to be Bloomberg. It was hilarious. So Trump's sitting back. You're part of it again. You're back in the fracas that is politics with Trump. He's got to have a little bit of a smile on his face. And Joe seems to be the guy with all the Joe-mentum now, and he's been keying on Joe for a while.
Well, look, you know, if you want to look at the opportunity to make fun of a candidate, look no further than Joe Biden last night, who couldn't differentiate between his wife and his sister. I mean, that's just who Joe Biden is. You know, don't forget, this is Joe Biden who wants to appoint the first black woman to the U.S. Senate, who thought that Super Tuesday was really Super Thursday. I relish the opportunity for Donald Trump to take on Joe Biden on a debate stage. This will make Hillary Clinton look like, you know, Nostradamus. I mean, just a complete genius. It's going to be amazing. The Biden campaign has been riddled with gaffes, but what we're really seeing is, once again, the Democrat establishment stealing this nomination from Bernie Sanders. And Elizabeth Warren staying in this race is now hurting Bernie. It's a three-way race right now. She has not won anything, will not win anything, and they are so afraid of Bernie Sanders, which, you know, I got to tell you, Chad, it's a little amazing to me, because I look at it just on the outside. Bernie Sanders raises $46.5 million in the month of February from 2.2 million donors. That's a real fundraising operation. And the Democrats say, well, he can't compete with Donald Trump. He can't win. Joe Biden raised about 9 cents. And all of a sudden they say, well, he's our best hope. I mean, it's amazing what the Democrats are doing to Bernie right now.
It is very interesting, Corey, what they're doing to him. And already it's you know, they're talking about it being a rigged primary. There's a machine, and the machine behind it all in the Democratic Party, Corey, as you know, they don't feel comfortable with what Bernie's doing. They don't feel like he's a real Democrat, and they feel like he's almost stealing the party from them. And so you've got a battle before we even get to the point where it's Trump versus somebody.
Well, look, we love what we call Operation Chaos, right? We hoped that Bernie would be in this, and Joe and Mikey and, you know, Elizabeth and Pete Buttigieg and Tulsi. They stayed in all the way through their convention, because I think what you're going to find, and what it looks like right now, and I know all the votes in California aren't counted, but obviously Bernie won out there. The real shock was in a state like Massachusetts that Joe Biden ended up winning. Elizabeth Warren came in third. But I don't think, based on, you know, a third of the delegates already have been allocated now from the Democratic Party, nobody's going to reach the requisite 1,991 required to win the nomination on the first ballot, which means very likely it's going to be stolen once again. And if history is an indicator, you remember how they said Bernie Sanders can't beat Donald Trump 4 years ago, and so they handed the nomination through the superdelegates to crooked Hillary Clinton, who lost in such a landslide that Donald Trump could have lost the state of Florida in the Electoral College and still won the election. So, look, the party elders, if you will, don't have a very good track record when it comes to Donald Trump on the Democratic side.
Talking to Corey Lewandowski, senior advisor to the Trump campaign. You know, it's very interesting. Here's my take with the whole Sanders thing. Sanders people love him, Corey. They absolutely love him. If they feel like it's been stolen for him again, it's over. Because the reality is they're not voting for Joe. They love him. They love what he brings. They don't care about the Democratic Party. And that's how, if you're them, how do you walk the fine line of not looking like you're stealing it, if indeed that ends up happening, and at the same time trying to keep everybody and coalesce around Joe?
Well, you have to remember, look, the Sanders supporters are a lot like Trump supporters in their desire to see their candidate win. You know, we've seen this now at the rallies for 5 years for Donald Trump, but we've seen it with the Bernie people. Look, they will chew on broken glass to get to the ballot box to vote for Bernie Sanders because they believe in the socialist agenda. You know, Joe Biden doesn't have that. And so, you know, I think if they do steal this from Bernie, those people are staying home, and it will all but ensure another massive victory for Donald Trump come November of this year. And look, the Democratic Party, I believe, is now resigned to the fact that Donald Trump is going to win 4 more years. And the reason they're trying to prop up Joe Biden is not for the presidency. I candidly believe that they think he's better for the down ballot races, specifically the House of Representatives. They need to try and hang on to that and their opportunity to try and take back the U.S. Senate. So I really believe that the Democrats have resigned the fact that they cannot beat Donald Trump, but they believe that Joe Biden is better for the down ballot races, and that's why they want him on the top of the ticket as opposed to Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that nobody talks about. Those down ballot races are huge, especially in a place like here where I am in Arizona, where you've got a chance to beat McSally, who already lost to Kirsten Sinema and is losing. The money is pouring in here. She's losing to Mark Kelly because she's taken over for John McCain's old spot McSally has. And they feel like they have a chance, but that socialist agenda may harm them, because while people may not vote for Trump or Sanders, they will come out and those people will end up voting in a lot of ways for the right side of the aisle rather than the left side of the aisle.
Well, that's right. And look, I don't think, and we've now seen this in Iowa and New Hampshire and across the states where Donald Trump is still receiving record numbers of votes, even though he's in by and large, an uncontested Republican primary. He's setting records for that. And what that means is our enthusiasm is high, but there is nobody in the country who's going out and voting for Donald Trump and then crossing over to the other side of the ballot to vote for a guy like Gary Peters in Michigan, right? It's going to be Donald Trump and then John James and Republicans right down the list. That's going to help us in some key states. And people are very concerned that if Bernie Sanders, the Democrats are concerned that Bernie Sanders is on the top of the ticket, and not only will they not win the presidency, which is very clear and evident right now, but it does hurt them in those other races, and the Democrats need to do their very level best to hold the House of Representatives. That's their argument to keep President Trump in check. But with Donald Trump on the top of the ticket, we're going to win back some seats in Pennsylvania, going to win back some seats in California. I'm going to have the opportunity to expand and win seats in the U.S. Senate.
It'll be interesting talking to Corey Lewandowski, a senior advisor to the Trump campaign. Bloomberg dumps out today. He goes behind Joe. The one thing Joe needs is money, because he's got nothing. Like you said, he had 9 seats. Bloomberg's got money, but he's also got a machine. And you know this. I mean, he has set up that machine all around the country, which I think he could basically say, here you go, Joe, have a good time. Go win this thing.
Well, look, Bloomberg has 2,000 people on staff right now. That is an astronomical number. And, you know, my real concern is what's going to happen to the people from American Samoa who put all their faith in Michael Bloomberg last night, right? I mean, they must be devastated by him dropping out of the race. I'm not sure. Because it was Michael Bloomberg and then Tulsi Gabbard, I think, in the 1-2 spots down in the American Samoa. But look, Michael Bloomberg was on a vanity trip, $500+ million that we know of on broadcast television. That doesn't include what he spent on the digital side, was probably another couple $100 million. And his quick endorsement of Joe Biden is simply because they are afraid of Bernie Sanders. And look, he can turn that over, but it's very different. As you know, Michael Bloomberg can continue to spend his own money on his own things, but he can't coordinate that with the Biden or the Sanders campaign. That would be an illegal in-kind contribution. And so he can continue to attack Donald Trump, which is, I think, what Bloomberg will do, and we'll see what impact that has. He hasn't been very successful after those 2 disastrous debate performances where the guy, may have had the worst debate performance since Admiral Stockdale in 96.
Stockdale was just the worst, but man, he was hilarious. Talking to Corey Lewandowski, a senior advisor to the Trump campaign. So we've got all this stuff playing out. We know exactly where it's going to go, and it looks like it's going to be Joe versus Trump. Anything could happen, but the reality is that's kind of where we're headed. Once again, though, I look up here and I say, what's the surprise? Because I'm waiting for the surprise. We've heard everything from Nikki Haley as the vice president to all kinds of different things. There's some surprises out there that Trump has up his sleeve, because that's what Trump likes to do. He's a showman, but he's calculated at what he does, and there's certain ways that he goes about doing things that at first you're like, really, I can't believe he did that, but it ends up making sense. How many surprises we have out there?
Well, look, Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey didn't go out of business because they couldn't find an elephant. They went out of business because Donald Trump is the greatest show on earth. We know that, right? And there's always a surprise. This convention, that we're going to have in Charlotte, and I had the privilege to travel with the president Monday night down in North Carolina, is going to be unlike anything that has ever been seen. You know, it has historically always been done the same way, where the nominee comes out on the last night and makes a speech, and the night before that is usually the vice president or the vice presidential nominee. I can promise you this: Donald Trump understands marketing, he understands messaging, and not only at the convention, but throughout his administration, we have seen that he has been his own best surrogate, his own best advocate to the media and to the American people. And I think you're going to see some surprises coming. You're going to see a stock market continue to boom. We're going to be talking about our record of accomplishments that we've had the opportunity to put together in the last 3+ years of this administration. And we're running on promises made, promises kept, which is, you know, I know it's a novelty in the world of politics that when people make promises, they actually keep them. But that's what this president has done, and we're ready to run on our record for that.
It's going to be interesting, absolutely. And like you said, the Nikki Haley vice president, we heard it today. First, Corey Lewandowski, thanks for breaking that for us.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, that's what I need. Hey, by the way, I was the chairman of the Vice Presidential Selection Committee, and I'm very honored to have had the opportunity to vet Mike Pence and choose him and make the recommendation to choose Vice President Pence as our first hire on the Trump campaign when he was a nominee. So Mike has done a great job. He never makes a mistake. He is a phenomenal team player. And I could not envision anybody other than Mike Pence being the vice president of the United States to this president.
You like Nikki Haley? Is she good people?
Look, Nikki's a great woman. She's done an amazing job for us at the United Nations. She has a long career ahead of her. She's relatively young still. She's had enormous success, an amazing American success story. And she has a huge career ahead of her. I know she's out doing the speaking circuit now. She's making some money, and nobody begrudges her of that. And if she wants to work in the Trump administration in the future, I'm sure she'll have that opportunity. But for me, I'm very biased. I'm a huge Mike Pence fan. I think that, when people make decisions to change their vice president, it's based on the fact that the vice president has made a mistake, or in the case of Spiro Agnew, maybe went to jail. I've never seen Mike Pence make a mistake in the 4 years that he's been on the team, literally ever. He understands that there's one star on the team, and his name is Donald John Trump. That will never change. And I think Mike Pence has done a phenomenal job with everything that he has been involved with.
Absolutely. I like Mike. Met Mike. He's a good dude. At the end of the day, though, I mean, I look at Trump and I say, Trump does stuff. And like you said, spectacular. Would it surprise me? No. But who knows what will happen? There's a long way away, man. I appreciate you coming on. I can't wait to see you when we get out there at the convention. Corey Lewandowski, senior advisor to the Trump campaign. Thanks so much, brother.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. I don't feel like he pushed that away the way that he could have. I'm just throwing it out there. Just putting it out there. Car Shield, amazing. Let me tell you about Car Shield. So I've got two cars, older car, newer car. One has electronics, the widgets, all the stuff, the widgets, and all that stuff, and the push button in the whole. The other one's just a regular car, gets me to and fro. Car Shield on both of them, plans for both of them to fit that specific car. That's what Car Shield gets you. They get you 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. Take it back to the dealership. They'll get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. So if you got something more modern, they've got a plan for that. You got something a little bit older, they got a plan for that. Plan starting as low as $99 a month. They will customize the plan that you want for the car that you have, for the need that you have for that car. It is simple. It is easy. Call 800-CAR-6000, mention code Benson, or go to carshield.com, use code Benson. When you do, you save 10%. 800-CAR-6000, code Benson, or carshield.com, code Benson, saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Gonna be honest, we had Corey Lewandowski on, senior advisor to the Trump campaign. Talked a lot about the Democratic side of things. It's going to play itself out. Corey's a good dude. He did not poo-poo the idea of what a lot of people are saying about the potential of Nikki Haley being the vice president. right? Trump likes splashes. He likes big things. He likes the show. He likes a lot of different stuff. And I listened. And he joked and he tried to talk about all of this stuff. You know, he's not made any missteps, this, that, and the other. Remember, he's got a very close relationship with Pence. He helped vet him. He worked on his PAC. There was a lot of things that he has done, but he did not poo-poo the idea the way you would think. Not the only one saying it.
On Thursday, July 16th, that's the day the Democrat gives her or his acceptance address. On that day, to interrupt that narrative, Donald Trump will call a press conference at Mar-a-Lago. He's going to dump Mike Pence and put Nikki Haley on the ticket to try to get those suburban moms. You watch. Guaranteed. Trump put Pence in charge of coronavirus to throw him under the bus.
Well, I don't know if it throws him under the bus, but would I be surprised to see a shakeup? I would not be surprised. Again, Trump likes, like he says, he likes to troll. He loves to do those kind of things. He likes to make things big. He loves to steal thunder. So it would be very, very interesting to see what takes place. I would not be surprised to see that. I wouldn't. And you've got what you wanted, right? He helped you win Indiana last time. You're not going to lose it this time. Maybe you move him to Secretary of State, right? They're just things that are possible. And with Trump liking to make big splashes, and I thought maybe Corey would fight back a little bit, and I don't think he fought back the way I think a lot of people in that position. Again, he kept it he even joked about it. So if you haven't checked it out, go to thechadshow.com, check out the podcast. Nick Wallenda, he likes to walk over stuff. Tonight he's going to walk over a volcano.
I don't know what it is. It is just this passion, this drive that I have in carrying on this amazing legacy. But it's a drive from within. It's not as though those around me, in fact, those around me say, why are you doing this? You're crazy. You're insane. Why do you keep doing this? But again, it's my passion. It is truly what I love to do.
Yeah, so he's going to be up there about, 1,800 feet or so, walking over it. He's going to have to wear glasses, the heat, the wind. It's going to be very interesting. Why do people turn in? Because there's always the chance he falls into a volcano. You want to see him make it to the other side, and there's a portion of you that turns in because, he might fall into the volcano, and I may never see that again. If he survives, he'll walk over other stuff. It's like, why do we watch racing? Because there may be a crash. We like the racing, but there also may be a crash. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Despite hundreds of millions of dollars spent on ads and campaign outreach, Bloomberg walked away with a single victory last night in American Samoa. From there, his campaign would only see a handful more delegates trickle in from other states.
And guess what? He jumped out of it. He quit. Biden he's won the lottery because he threw his might behind Biden. So what did you win? Huge Super Tuesday for Biden. Surprising everybody. Wins Texas, didn't win California, didn't think he would. Still did better than I think he thought he was going to do. Right? He won places like Tennessee and Massachusetts. Never went to Tennessee. Don't even know if he knows where it is on a map. I'm kidding, Joe. Or am I? Massachusetts? Never went there. He won that. All that money spent. How much? Don't know. Talked to Corey Lewandowski earlier. He said potentially $700 million, $300 to $500 million just on regular ads alone. That doesn't count digital. And you couldn't open up your internet browser without Mike Bloomberg going, Mike. So Mike comes out and immediately endorses Biden. And that's a big thing right there. Mike has money. Well, he can't give it to him, obviously. He can't just hand over the keys, but he does have a lot of ways, like everybody does in this day and age, to do what? Figure out how to put PACs together to help him in certain areas, including taking on Trump, which is what I think he'll do a lot of, but also help him in ways to show him how to build up the infrastructure without the Democratic National Party's help, which they're already going to have. It's a huge win yesterday, and it has been since Saturday, and the Joe-mentum is continuing to grow.
The former New York City mayor now throwing his support behind former Vice President Joe Biden, calling him the candidate with the best shot in November. After winning 9 of Super Tuesday's 15 primaries, Biden said,
"Our campaign reflects the diversity of this party and this nation, and that's how it should be, because we need to bring everybody along. Everybody. We want a nominee who will beat Donald Trump."
He now leads Bernie Sanders in the delegate race, but votes are still being counted in California.
Yeah, still being counted. So that will change. How much does that change? That's a very fair question, because remember how California does it, and this may take a day or two to suss this out even throughout the day. I think it really is going to be the weekend, late Thursday, Friday, Saturday sometimes, before we know the absolute delegate count coming out of California. 415 or so up for grabs. You get a statewide. So the statewide, he won. But Joe got over a certain threshold. Then you go congressional district, and did Joe get over thresholds there? You have to get to 15%. I'm sure in some of them he did. But it was a huge win yesterday and another one today, because Bloomberg will figure out a way to throw money at defeating Trump. I think he thinks Joe's got this when it comes to winning the primary. So we'll see.
For those who've been knocked down, counted out, left behind, this is your campaign. Just a few days ago, the press and the pundits had declared the campaign dead. And then came South Carolina, and they had something to say about it. And we're told, well, when you got to Super Tuesday, it'd be over. Well, it may be over for the other guy.
That other guy is Bernie Sanders, who has to be looking up and thinking to himself, what the hell happened? A week ago, it looked like I was going to roll through this thing. And now it feels like what? Feels like they're going to steal it from me. Because that's already what they're setting up. Right? Know that. That's already what they're setting up, is that it's being stolen from him. That's you go and you look at the interwebs, go to Twitter, rigged primary, rigged DNC. Now they're hoping, hey, guess what? Warren drops out, puts her might behind him. That will help him. Not going to help him the same. Warren's voters aren't. It's one of those things where I think people think that just because she's quote unquote progressive, that somehow Warren's voters are Bernie voters. A lot of their second picks weren't Bernie. A lot of their second picks were Buttigieg, were the more moderate candidates. So while he may get a boost, there's no doubt about that, it will not be people flocking to him. And what does she have to offer? That's the other thing. On top of that, she's part of the establishment. Let's not forget that. She is part of that establishment side of things. How are they going to influence that? Politics is messy and it's nasty. And this is one of those situations where it's going to get even messier and nastier. And could she be in a situation where she's looking around going, you know what? Me sticking around in this thing, I'm going to pick up 400 delegates, potentially. 300 delegates. I can limp my way to 2, 3, 4, 500 delegates, who knows what, but I can do enough damage that they can't get to where they need to get to. And maybe they're going to have to come to me to cut a deal to try to get my delegates. That's a possibility. Or she could just bow out, which is what she should do. She didn't win her home state. But you got to go through every scenario in your mind. You have to go through every scenario. Bloomberg ran for 2 reasons. Doesn't like Trump, doesn't like Bernie. Didn't think anybody could beat Trump, and didn't feel like anybody could beat Bernie. So that's why he ran. Now he's out. But even Warren getting out, again, doesn't make it so automatically everybody in the progressive wing is coalescing around Bernie. And those numbers, how big are those numbers really? Because you start breaking it down, they're not huge. They're not. I think you looked at all of the moderates along the way, and you're like, well, if you put them all together, they're still way bigger than the progressive side of it. How does Bernie get some of those people who are moderates? That's tough. He's not growing his base. He's not at all.
So we're going to beat Trump because this will become a contrast in ideas. If this campaign, and I don't know what will happen, but if it comes out to be a campaign in which we have one candidate who is standing up for the working class and the middle class, and if we have another candidate who has received contributions from at least 60 billionaires, we're going to win that election.
It's raised a ton of money. It feels like it's us versus the world if he's him. It absolutely does. It feels like it. And he's coming out saying it. And keep in mind, Bernie supporters love Bernie. Trump supporters love Trump. Not necessarily the Republican Party, just like Bernie supporters aren't necessarily Democrats. Magically, Trump supporters, they coalesced around him, and he brought some other people with him because, and I think a lot of that had to do with Hillary. On the other side of things, I think if they feel like they've been robbed again, there's no doubt in my mind that at least half of those people that support Bernie are going to stay home. They'll cast the third ballot or they'll stay home. And that right there will ensure another 4 years of Trump. So think about that. If you're the Democratic Party, how do you walk that fine line? How do you walk that situation line where you want to make it sure, hey, you voted for all these things, especially when it comes to the superdelegates and the way that this thing is, Bernie, so you can't start screaming about it now. But if you feel like you're being sold out by everybody in the party so they can get you off the ticket, and you feel like that's happening, how do we rein you in? Because they're going to need that. They're absolutely going to need that. And it would be vital if he drops out or he ends up not being the candidate that he comes out immediately and endorses. That hurt Hillary. That did. That absolutely hurt Hillary. And she still is pissed off about that. And if he doesn't come out and endorse, if he doesn't get it, now we still have a long way to go. But if he comes out and they say, hey, you know what? It's a brokered convention, back and forth, second vote. Next thing you know, it ends up being Biden and not him. And he feels like he's been robbed again and the machine works against him. And instead of endorsing immediately, he holds off for a while. Yeah, I think it'll hurt him again. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Again, Biden's leading right now the delegate, Bernie not too far behind him. I think if you'd have told Biden a week ago, dude, a week from now, you're going to be leading everything and you're going to have your lane wide open and the people that you were going up against from Bloomberg to Buttigieg to Klobuchar will all be on your side pushing this bus. I would think he's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yeah. No, nobody's kidding you. It's real, Joe. Wake up, Joe. Joe, wake up. It's real. It's real, Joe. It's real. Lightstream, also very real. So if you're like me, you've had credit cards in the past, you may still have credit cards. A lot of people out there, they've got way too much credit card debt. You're paying off things that you shouldn't be paying off because you bought it a year, 2, 3 years ago. Your credit card interest rates are through the roof and you got too much of it. 20%? What are you doing? My friends at Lightstream are here to help. It's so easy to lower your interest rate and save with Lightstream credit card consolidation loan. You can get a rate as low as 5.95% APR with autopay. $5,000 to $100,000, absolutely no fees. You can even get your money as early as the same day, and you can apply right from your phone. It's that simple and easy. It is. I've had people text me, had people who've sent emails and say, I can't believe how easy that was. I told you, not lying. And right now, just for being my listener, how about this? Special interest rate discount. Go to lightstream.com/Benson, lightstream.com/Benson. Subject to credit approval. Rate includes 0.50% auto pay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Offer subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. Chad Benson Show.
Plea deal this.
Mueller, arrest me.
Chad will trade you 2 perjury charges for 1 collusion and throw in a reduced charge of obstruction for free.
Yeah, I'd do that.
For just listening to The Chad Benson Show.
I think we'll be in probably about 6 weeks, which, as a matter of fact, will be the fastest that anyone ever has gone from the identification of a sequence into a phase 1 trial of any vaccine that's ever been done.
Oh, vaccine. Dr. Anthony Fauci there talking about it. 6 weeks they're looking at getting into a trial for the coronavirus. 6 confirmed coronavirus patients in New York City.
That will take about 3 to 4 months. And then, if successful, which I believe it will be, there's no reason to believe it won't be safe, we'll go into what's called a phase 2 trial. The phase 1 trial is 45 individuals. Phase 2 trials are hundreds, if not a couple of thousand individuals. It would take then about a year to a year and a half to be fully confident that we would have a vaccine that would be able to protect the American people.
Yeah, so we're still a ways away from it. We're still a ways away from a vaccine. End of the day, though, while people are freaking out, take a deep breath. The reality is, I don't think this thing is in a situation where it's going to kill us all, even though you're seeing there's a run on things like toilet paper. And it's not just us, by the way. It's not just us. Everywhere around the globe, people are in a situation where there seems to be a panicking. And I was reading a professor from the University of Columbia yesterday talking about the fact that there's a self-fulfilling, prophecy when you go out and you try to buy everything you possibly can, toilet paper and everything you think you're going to need, and then you can't find it, is because why? Is it really that big of a deal, or did we just now panic ourselves into something that wasn't there?
The response will be ramped up in phases as the situation develops. That's the word from Chris Whitty, the chief medical officer for England, who says special attention will also be paid to the elderly.
The risks are much higher in those older people, and therefore we will be giving specific advice on nursing care and residential care at the point where it looks as if we are heading into the upswing of an epidemic.
In a worst-case scenario, the British government says up to 1 in 5 workers here could be off sick during a coronavirus peak.
Yeah. Twitter people are mad because they've got to stay at home. There's a lot of things going on. But everybody just needs to take a deep breath. It's something you should be wary of, but don't overthink. And we do that. I mean, the more you hear about this, the more I just laugh and think, my God, we're creating WebMD everywhere. How many of you go onto WebMD? And the next thing you know, you start looking at something like, well, I think I got that, or my back hurts a little bit. And you're like, oh, geez. It happens all the time. We all know that. We overthink it. Just take a deep breath. Relax. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Big win yesterday for Joe. Not a great day for Bloomberg. Spent a ton of money. He bounces out. Question is, now what? And here's something else, and I think this is something real, is what's Obama going to do? Right? Because you're hearing stories that Sunday in particular, Obama spoke to Buttigieg and behind the scenes was working certain things, called Joe himself on Saturday night. How much sway does Obama still have in this battle of the Democratic Party? And I think he's got a little bit more sway than some people would like to think. Look, the media would love not a Joe versus Trump, but a Bernie versus Trump. Who would want to see that? Right? Two opposite ideas. Socialism versus capitalism. You got all kinds of stuff there. The media would love that. The establishment doesn't want to see that because they're worried not only about whether or not Bernie can actually win, but will he affect the down ticket? The media cares about what? We don't care who wins at that point in time. Even I don't care who wins if you're looking for the entertainment value. For me, it doesn't matter. Because Trump will be Trump, Bernie will be Bernie. Both of them are characters. In my life, they don't affect me that much either. I know for a lot of people they do, but they don't affect me that much. But so the media would love to see that. But how much sway in the establishment that's still much bigger than the progressive side does Obama have? And when does he get out? And is that the thing that pushes everybody over the line that's maybe dangling out there? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Wait till you hear this. Woman goes to vote. Uber driver says something. She reads in the riot act. It's a Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Bloomberg's spending this campaign has been unprecedented, but on Tuesday night, he watched states where he spent tens of millions of dollars go to rival Joe Biden, who spent far less. In North Carolina, Biden spent $321,000 on ads. Bloomberg, more than $17 million. In Minnesota, Biden spent just $6,000, while Bloomberg dropped more than $12 million. And with the disappointing results Tuesday night, reports say Bloomberg will reassess the future of his campaign. Mark Remillard, ABC News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know what Bloomberg's going to do. I don't know what Warren's going to do. Because let's be real, too. Not just Bloomberg, but Warren. Not just Bloomberg, but Warren came in third in her own state. So her home state, she came in third. Biden didn't even fly over Massachusetts, anyone. She came in third. That says a lot. I don't know. Here's the thing. I do believe that Warren is going to continue. She's got a town hall out here in Arizona on, I think it is Saturday or Sunday, right? So she is going to continue moving forward by the looks of it. I don't know why. I don't know what kind of money she has. She doesn't seem like she's giving up just yet. I don't know what she thinks is going to happen, but there's no doubt that she, it was not a good night for her at all. It wasn't. It was not a good night. She has struggled mightily. And she's continuing to go on by the looks of it. And remember, Warren's people aren't necessarily Bernie's people. A majority of Warren's people picked Buttigieg as their second. Man, Warren's people attacked me the other day when I said, with Buttigieg getting out of the race, who does this help the most? And I didn't put Warren. And they're like, you just don't understand. I'm like, I'm waiting for you guys. Where are you? She's a non-factor. I mean, she isn't. She came in third. Third. In your own home state. Third. Now, does she keep going? Does she say to herself, let's see if this thing's going to be a contested convention, a brokered convention where maybe I'll have some sway? Maybe I can see, because think about this for a second. Let's just say it gets to 1,600 and 1,400, and she's able to amass, 500-600 delegates along the way. She could have the opportunity to get in there and potentially sway that. Maybe put herself on the ticket, right? It's a possibility. So there's a lot of jockeying going on right now. But Bloomberg, he's got all the money in the world. He can stick this thing out for as long as he wants to stick this thing out. And I don't know how long that's going to be. Maybe it's maybe today again he reassesses, he looks and at the same time he's just 3 weeks ago this looked like a smart play because he didn't feel Joe was going to be it, right? And look, totally understand that, right? Joe struggled mightily. Joe did. I think Bloomberg's looking at, can I pick enough off so that I can become a player? Because I still don't know if anybody's going to get to that threshold they need to get the nomination without there being a broker convention. I just don't know if that's going to happen. I think he's really looking at a few of the other things along the way. But I tell you what, it's ugly. It has not been good at all for him. And so much of that is the fact, imagine what he was like. Let's just say for the sake of argument, Bloomberg had any personality whatsoever. He had any personality. He had a little piss and vinegar like Bernie. Maybe he had some personality like Joe. I think he would be a player. But when he got on that stage that night in Nevada, he was as dull as it comes. He was a whipping boy for Elizabeth Warren, and he got his ass whooped. And he has not been the same. Did a little bit better in the next one. But he's just, It's a lot of money to be the president of American Samoa. By the way, Tulsi Gabbard got one. We were laughing about that.
I'm glad the vice president's okay. This has been the most impressive 72 hours I've ever seen in American politics. He came back. Impressive wins in states that I didn't even think Joe Biden had a presence. Massachusetts, Minnesota. Carl mentioned the delegates tonight. You should put one up for Tulsi. She got it in American Samoa, okay? She probably worked very, very hard for that.
There you go.
Please, Carl. Thank you, Boo. I appreciate that because I got to be fair.
Yeah, she's supposed to be in the next debate. So we'll see. I don't even know what she's doing. Like, is she just leaving herself in there and hoping because she's on some of these things that she'll pick up some delegates along the way and there's no reason not to, right? Might as well ride this thing out as long as possible. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. So again, looking forward next week, the 10th, you've got Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, Washington. Washington's got 89, Michigan's got 126, Missouri's got 68. Those are the big ones. Then 2 weeks from yesterday is a big night. Arizona's got 67, but the biggies are Florida, and you can kiss that goodbye for Bernie. Illinois will be interesting, and Ohio. So those will be pretty damn interesting. And then the last, looks like, you've got a couple decent ones, but then the next big and the last real big few nights is, New York. Where does that go in Pennsylvania? But you still have a ways to go. I don't think this thing's going to be done anytime soon. I think this is a battle that's going to continue to go on moving forward. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. So imagine this. You're a woman going to vote, and your Uber driver yells something. And this woman did not like what he said, decided she was going to lay down the law.
This is actually the reason I'm voting. He yelled at me nice as he sat in his car because he's a loser and he's super inappropriate and he's fucking shady. Do you feel good? Did you stop me on the street and say nice? Is that what just happened? Did you stop me on the street and say nice as I was walking, minding my own business, and sexually harass me? Is that what just happened? Do you feel like an adult? How do you feel right now? Do you feel good? Yeah? That's all you got, huh? That's all you got because you live your life every day as a man and you don't have to deal with sexual harassment. You're so weak that you thought that you could just scream that at me and I was going to walk away and say nothing, huh?
Yeah, she wasn't walking away. She was not walking away at all. She's not done. And he's just sitting there. Just like, just taking it.
Well, now I'm not saying nothing because you interrupted me and made me feel like because that's what you got to do from your place of privilege in your stupid car. Oh, yeah. Instead of just saying come again and oh, yeah, you could apologize. Would you like to apologize to me? No, you would not like to apologize to me because this doesn't matter to you at all because you have so much goddamn privilege that you're just going to harass me on the street and you have no intention of apologizing to me. About yelling nice at me. This is the reason I'm on my way to vote. People like you.
People like him. It's the reason that she's on her way. By the way, can we just say this? You're an Uber driver, side hustle. Probably, I know you're talking about privilege, but I don't know how much privilege he's got there. Who's got male privilege? Everybody's got privilege, right? Some way, shape, or form. If you're born in America, you have privilege. If you're here in America, legally or not, you've got privilege because you're in this country compared to other places that aren't so good. If you're a man and you're ugly, you may not have some privilege. If you're a woman and you're beautiful, you got a little privilege, right? I mean, everybody can find something that somebody else has. We are so obsessed with what everybody else has that's better. Isn't it weird? What he said was wrong. He's an idiot. He's also an Uber driver. So we're going to go with that one, right? And he's sitting there taking it, and he's a buffoon.
People like you are the reason that I have to, wake up every day and think about my actions and think about my safety. The fact that I'm having this conversation with you could potentially be putting me in danger. And I'm doing it anyways because I'm so sick of people like you. What a world, man. Why are you lurking here anyways? Do you have, something you need to be at? That's great. 2 women just walked by and agreed with me that you shouldn't sexually harass people. And I think Uber will, too. I think Uber will also agree with me.
Yeah, probably. Do people wake up every day and think that? I work with a lot of women, and I always ask them this. Do you guys ever feel sexually harassed outside? No. No. Some people, they wake up in the morning and everything in the world is coming at them. That's the way they feel. They wake up waiting to be offended. She was offended, and rightly so, and she read him the riot act, and he'll probably pay the price and he'll lose his job. She read him the riot act, and she had every right to. But along the way, it's yeah, I'm doing this because it's interesting, right? I sometimes sit back and go, do people is that it? But then, yeah, there are a lot of people out there. They wake up in the morning and they're just waiting. What is the world going to feed them today of disappointment, sadness, and how are they robbed? And how are they disproportionately crushed by the man compared to somebody else? And that's how they start their morning. They start their morning looking for a reason to be offended. It's interesting. I've never started my way. It's I don't care what other people make. Right? I've never cared about that. So many people care. When I talk about Bernie's people, well, when CEOs stop making 500 million times the blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't care what a CEO makes. I've never cared. I don't care what a star makes. I don't care what an athlete makes. I don't care about any of those things. I care about me, my family, my life. Some people, though, it's about being offended, and they've got to be. I think they're happiest when there's trauma and drama in their life. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. We're talking off the air about the coronavirus and how people are freaking out. Toilet paper, the run on French toast. There's a run on ingredients for French toast. They're what are the staples in your life? French toast is not a staple. There's a run on ramen, right? There's a huge run on top ramen because it's cheap and you keep it and it lasts for years, right? Not only in the package, but also in your body. So there's a run on that. And I'm man, just watching it. And I was watching this thing in Australia. They're Woolworths, which is huge there, are telling people you can only get 4 things of toilet paper, right? So 4, they come in 6 or 8 packs. You only get 4 of those. You can't buy all of the store out. Breathe. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Hey, if you're like most of us, you've got a credit card and your balance is probably high. You're paying 17, 18, 19, 20+%. Don't do that. Don't do that. You need my friends at Lightstream. So easy to lower your rate, right? It is so easy to lower your interest rate and save with Lightstream credit card consolidation loan. You can get a rate as low as 5.95% APR with auto pay. Because Lightstream believes people with good credit like you shouldn't be paying that ridiculous amount. You can get loans from $5,000 to $100,000 with absolutely no fees. You can even get your money as early as the same day you apply. And you can do it right from your phone. And just for being my listener, that's you guys out there, how about this little special interest rate discount? Now, to get this discount, you go to lightstream.com/Benson. That's LIGHTSTREAM.com/Benson. You know, you got your credit card bill yesterday or the other day and you're looking at it going, oh, this is ridiculous. Get out of that. Get into Lightstream. Subject to credit approval. Rate includes 0.50% auto pay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Offers subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
The Bernie Sanders team will tell you that they always thought that the party establishment, as they say, was going to punch back and fight back, that they knew a lot of his rivals really didn't want him to be the nominee and would perhaps try to get in his way. Still, they were very surprised at how quickly and how coordinated all these endorsements seemed to happen.
Yeah. Very interesting, right? So Bernie's building up what I think Bernie likes. I think Bernie likes being the revolutionary. Bernie likes those things where he can come out and say it's us versus the world. Bernie enjoys all of those things, and he's enjoying it now. Was he happy with the way everything came out yesterday? No. In saying that, this is what it is. And he's going to do everything he can in his power to make sure that everybody that's working for him, that supports him, will understand that they're getting into something where it is them versus the machine. The Democratic machine, a machine that he can't stand and that he's really not a part of. So Super Tuesday, indeed a big day. Fallout Wednesday, also a big day. Both of those for Biden. Both of those for Biden. Big wins, including Texas, North Carolina, and Virginia. Did okay, even though Bernie won California. How much did he win it by? We may not know that for a few days. And then having Bloomberg drop out today and immediately support Biden is huge. What kind of, when you go and you look at Warren and you say, are you going to throw your support behind Bernie? Are you going to do that? How many of your people go there? That's a very fair question. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Again, crazy few days in politics. Bernie probably thought Joe will do okay. Don't think he thought he was going to do that good. And looking forward to the primary calendar next week, you've got Michigan is the big one and Washington. But 2 weeks from yesterday is a huge night. 67 delegates for Arizona, but then the rest are all big. Ohio, 136, Illinois, 155, and Florida, which Bernie has to know he is not going to get based on his support of some of Castro's great literacy programs. I think he knows that ship has sailed, literally. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Stamps.com. Where would you like to be there? Today, working in your office, busting your butt? Or would you like to be at the post office? No, you don't want to be there. But working, doing your thing, keeping your schedule. Time is money. That's where Stamps.com comes in. So Stamps.com is amazing. Anything you can do at the post office, you can do at Stamps.com. Their on-demand postage means, guess what? Skip the post office. Huge. They bring all of the services of the U.S. Postal Service right to where your computer. Small office sending invoices, online selling, shipping out products. You get where I'm going. I used it for my company. Continue to do so. It is amazing. Time is money, and you can't get time back. But you can not only save time, you can save money with Stamps.com. It's a no-brainer. You're going to be saving time and money. 700,000 small businesses already use Stamps.com. You get 5 cents off every first-class stamp. Right now, just for my listeners, 4-week trial and free postage, a digital scale without any long-term commitment. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, type in Chad. That's Stamps.com, enter code Chad. Boom.